Hi, I'm JD, and I want to share you with something. I was tutoring someone about maybe a couple weeks ago, and she just really had trouble grasping a concept. And so I wanted to give her something in general that would help her out. And so I came up with these three basic questions. You've probably heard of them before. Maybe I got them from somewhere. And I actually worked these with another student I was tutoring. And both of them found it very, very helpful. Here are the questions. Where am I at? Where am I going? And how do I get there? Right from start to finish, from point A to point B, you're asking yourself these questions. In every math problem, where am I at? Well, where are you at in your textbook? What are you given in relation to the problem? Things like that. What have you learned, right? Because that's going to be key. You're not going to, most likely, maybe if they're, I don't know, some strange math teacher, but they're usually going to give you something that you have already learned. That's where I'm at. Where am I going? What is it asking for? Sometimes you can find this in the directions. They might ask you to do factor by grouping. Since you're doing factor by grouping, since you're factoring, that means you're going to be setting up parentheses as opposed to breaking them down. Things like that. What is the word problem asking for? What do they want? That's where am I going? Now, how do you get there? That's the process, the strategy that you're going to take from start to finish, right? You have to ask all these questions in the beginning, but where they take place is at different times. Okay, where am I starting at? Where am I going? You need to know your goal first before you start driving the car, right? You have to know your destination before you leave, or you're just going to get very confused and it's like, oh, I'm going where? You want to know where you're going. And how are you going to get there? That's in between. So am I going to go by plane or I'm going to go by car? You got to think through how you're going to get there. Now, in mathematics, that might involve a particular strategy. For example, like with factoring by grouping, you would have to know how to factor by grouping. What are the steps involved, right? And what do I have to know? I have to know GCF. I have to know how to group these two guys together. I have to know this and I have to know that. And that's the step-by-step procedure that goes in between. And by asking these three questions when you approach a math problem will be incredibly useful. Now, some of you might do this automatically. Oh, I see this and I know to do this. But in the beginning steps, you're asking these three questions. It's so routine. Some of you are probably in college, probably driving, right? Does anyone have to go through the basics anymore? Okay, how soft do I press my hand against not my hand, but my foot against the brake pedal? Or you don't think through, okay, I push the gas and I start moving forward. If I push it harder, then I'm going to go faster. You do that automatically because it's routine. And those are going to be the baby stages. You're going to have so much practice and so much routine, it's going to be second nature to you eventually over time. But when things get complicated, ask yourself, where am I at? What am I starting at? What do I have? Where am I going? What question is it asking for? What are the directions? Because that will give me a hint on how to know where I'm going. And then how do I get there? All right, I know this is differential equations. I know I'm in this section. Oh, separation by variables. So you're going to know certain strategies. Oh, yeah, that's right. You know, integration by parts, blah, 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 blah. So, to get from point A to point B, you ask these general questions. And you ask these questions every day of your life. So how does math help you? It helps you to think, okay, where am I starting at? Where am I going? What's my goal? And how I'm going to get there. And mathematics gives it to you in a logical sequence. So, that's it.